Nothing, I don't think. That's all right.
Huh?
It's all right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Back to me, Dad. You're not.
See you, Jen.
Oh, okay. Everybody's ready to stop.
Not me. Not me. CK, I thought you could say this. I got the turkey.
I've got the dressing by my plate, too. And I got the hot roll.
I got empty white.
That's it.
I got gravy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just put a ring of it around on top, maybe. You're there, Mother.
No, it's not that.
Not very many of us left, and we haven't even started eating. Well, you got so much in there.
I treasure Gene.
I want the fruit salad.
Gene doesn't like pineapple, is it?
I think
There's
so.
not much in there. No, there's okay. Say grace, people. That was my very shirt.
Want me?
It's not, that's the, what do they call it?
Who's
Giblets
going to make it
cut up
on
in there.
Okay.
Say a prayer. Which one's that? The mother house.
Yeah, that really.
The grandma. Real.
This is Thanksgiving, and let's be thankful that we're all here and hale and hearty and able to be hungry and able to eat all this good food. Thankful that we're eating it.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God, we thank you for letting us come to once more. Thank you for your of help and luck. These two are letting you. I'm going to stand and share Bert and Beth and the kids and our mothers.
Yeah.
How about our grandmas and grandfathers and mamas and daddies
Oh, praise
and
God.
Luke's family and Ray's
Oh,
family.
praise that. There we go. There we go.
Oh, Dawn?
And
Well, I just said my sister's name.
they'll be remembering you today too. Yeah, maybe your mom will leave you a drumstick.
She will.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh,
I don't know about a week. She went to Puerto Rico. Something like that.
lucky she was too.
She wanted
No.
even though she's Spanish.
The first year we got to go by the.
Well, I wouldn't mind. Although I found my hair cut off. I was right in prison. You know. Well, I don't think you guys can even check it tonight. The way Susan's piling.
That's
like
it.
that.
Hey, why don't you just pack your plate around Susan and we'll. You know, I'm good.
You don't want to be selfish?
No.
You want to roll,
Yeah,
Mom?
you're self-centered.
Sweet potatoes, Susan? Mashed potatoes?
Well,
Okay,
Susan goes
well,
back
I can look
next
at those.
week.
Ray, you will learn to put something on your plate.
I know, because if you don't get it first time, buddy, don't go on.
Yeah,
I
shut
know
up.
that.
Here.
There.
Okay.
Stand home.
Good.
Scoop Gina.
Candy,
Scoop.
yeah.
Give me anyway. Yeah.
Good night, Candy.
They already got brown sugar on them. Oh, I brought the cranberry sauce for you, Mom. Where's it?
Yeah.
I got the cranberry.
Chris on.
Let's get the
Well,
cranberry.
we gotta have that.
Why do we gotta have that?
We have to have that.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's the cranberries.
There you go. Now.
Now, here's the bread. Oh, you got it.
Oh, exactly. I'm not starting to do it here. Jean.
Where's it gonna put it?
Put it over there on the table. Behind you. Wait till
Sue's Kay's down here filling her plate up there.
Hey, you got enough turkey there?
Needs more potatoes.
Give her some more potatoes. They ready? Slap?
No, I've got my potatoes.
Where?
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce.
All right, take your turn.
Sure, thick enough. I think I need something.
Yeah.
No offense.
You need more food, we can still see your plate.
No, I don't eat that much.
Remember you came up here?
You got my potatoes this time. You got my percentage.
Huh.
Best meal we had.
So already you've got to stuff yourself right.
Yeah.
Well, Ted's taking the
No,
plate.
please, you don't do it tonight. Do it tomorrow night.
I won't be here tomorrow night.
You better do it quick.
Oh, sorry about the potatoes, but you know, I got two hands and I can use them both.
Going one.
No, one minute I get this.
Oh, okay, now it's all right. Gee, take it. Put it on their table.
Where? There's one room. Here, we'll put it on the floor.
Here, put it on the other. No, right there. There. How about some over there? You like them before some of them?
That was before
I'll have
some.
some.
That's great.
I thought she was catching that.
Put them on the little child meat, child meat. Put them on that. On that.
Watch her leg.
Anyhow, I got plenty of food now, boy.
They're trying to stuff me.
I'm sorry, sure.
I don't need any stuff.
Well, that's
Stuff
not already stuff. That's not even.
Why'd you ask to pass the butter instead of reach across the whole table?
I didn't.
Jean did.
Oh.
Well, you stuffed yourself on the turkey, so how can you eat butter?
I don't want to hear anybody talking about anybody's stuffing now.
No.
Yeah.
Put them stuff.
Just stuff. Just
You're not gonna stuff me.
You do it all yourself.
I'm not doing it. So don't force it.
No, we won't force it.
You're on your own, boy.
Let's see.
You're around here.
Hey, you got the turkey, you got the turkey, she's got the potatoes, you got the potatoes, this got the this, all right.
Lost an olive.
Pick it up, put it on your ear. Well,
Somebody put it on yours, be careful.
put it on your ear, please.
November 27th, isn't it?
19th century.
Yeah, November 27th, 1969.
You're graduated.
You're graduate.
The year we recorded this infamous meal.
Yeah.
Did Daddy ever hear that
That's
one
what he
yet
did.
about Sharon's and Jack's?
No.
Sharon tells about, no, he went big. Mommy coming in and he wants to hear Grandpa say, blah, 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 blah. She got that word instead.
Yeah.
What word was that? Say it again.
I don't remember.
What was that word you said to Ronnie?
I don't repeat it, but Ronnie can't remember.
Did.
Ronnie repeated it, I made it, before he wanted to hear you say it again, he thought it sounded pretty good. I guess it sounded like his grandpa. I want to hear grandpa say blah, blah, blah.
Grandpa, say. What's the next time you say Grandpa? Hey, Grandpa, didn't you say,
No, because mine was standing right there.
a 2-year-old nut children are saying, hey, we're gonna learn at home tonight.
Brownie doesn't forget.
He wants a real rocket.
A real one. It's not on TV.
Real walking. You know what walking
My
is?
grandma had her one, and she did it for her.
He wants 2 of them.
Yeah. It was a Christmas tree.
And Grandma's gonna bring it to him, aren't you, Grandma?
I had 2 Christmas trees, one for his room and one for Mom and Daddy.
You better bring me a Christmas tree. You're gonna
Well,
bring
you
mine.
don't have much on your plate, dear. What you guys gonna eat for tomorrow?
You
We
got
ain't
to
over at your house. We at your house.
Nice.
I know, he looks like he's got a river there.
Yeah, you got gravy.
There are recipes around here. Recipes around.
We got there was something that was missing.
Jeez. Standing up with your big foot.
That's why we decided we had that tonight. Nobody ever ever eats any, but they wanted to see him there.
That's peas time. Now you want the peas?
No.
Keep your mouth shut.
No. Good stuff. Yeah. You aren't going to get too much. No, they aren't.
I'm eating. Give me a chance to get this down.
You're talking too much. I know you haven't eaten very much. No, mine. But they look at the tape.
I'm eating. I'm eating peas.
Okay, I want to eat.
I got peas in the middle of everything.
You want me to tell you how they catch polar bears in Alaska?
Oh, yeah, I think that's what I last time. Tell us how to do it.
No.
Oh.
Why, it's too-
It's too,
Too dirty for my ears?
for a young, tender ear.
Too young for mine.
I know, you're trying to get one of us to stab it instead.
Too dirty. Ask Ronnie, he might know what the answer is.
Yeah, right, no.
Well, you cut a hole in the ice. You sprinkle peas all around the hole. And when a polar bear comes to take a pea, you kick it in the ice hole.
That's fair enough. What you said?
Yeah.
Everything turned out good. Yeah.
What are you talking about? You didn't eat any.
Well, it was actually interesting, man.
It's not. They're not even.
If you ate, they must be.
I am hungry.
Excellent.
What?
That's not there.
But,
If Kay made it, it must be good.
oh yeah.
That's what it was good. Now, I don't know what you eat. What she made, it must be.
There's a compliment for you. Sure.
Hey, real
On
good.
tape too, isn't that nice?
Erase that one.
Oh, no. I sure hear you drinking the last of
That was a real good meal.
I can slip the last of my water in about 2 minutes.
It took 11 hours to make one lousy meal, and then it's cold.
There is no such thing. Are you ashamed of yourself? We do a lot of things besides cook.
Yeah, laying down, sitting down.
Now, us, maybe you, but not us.
Must be football games.
No, it was less than that. Hair.
Ooh, it's less than that.
Heck, I was up to 20 last one.
Well, you should say, I was watching my hair this morning.
My last 30, I went back.
Glad your hair fair.
I beat
Call me an
you.
article when that.
I beat you.
Well, at 5:30, that hour is pretty important.
Well, I was at work today.
That's right, you went to the public. Yeah.
What was that?
5:30 this morning.
I've been so long ago.
5 to 12 hours. I got off at 11:30.
Yeah,
You're going to teach Ronnie bad things.
yeah, stop that right now. Don't give him any ideas.
He just wants a toy rocket ship.
Yeah, that's good, right.
Ronnie doesn't want the toy rocket ship, not the real one. I know, he's going to beat me up now.
Grandpa hates the turkey, so he's back with the turkey. Cold turkey. And he's in there chopping away.
From underneath that is warm.
That was warm too. That was the one.
I got
Good grief when we took turkey out of the pan. So if you make the gravy, it was only half the turkey left. After
Yeah,
it
it
got
was
snapped on it earlier in the day.
wasn't for me.
There was a chunk cut out the breast part there.
Not sure like this, do it. Good, Tuesday, 30.
Food City.
That
The
was
company of
no,
fun.
there was no name.
No, that guy, they are
Don't have to pay for that.
Well, I didn't, the only thing that I would like to have seen was that they had to cut off part of the breast, because I like the way.
Well, that was nothing but a piece of bone at that point there. It's no easy.
But anyway, at least we didn't pay for it, they only charged us for the pound that time.
up there.
Believe me, we know that something's missing.
Around this house.
I know. So you heard about open face down?
You see, that's just right, requires my water.
You heard about open face down, well, this was an open face turkey. I couldn't turn it over, you know, because all the dressing was falling out.
Why can't you sew it up?
No, because.
You're not a good
I'm
maker.
trying to
You
tell
never
you,
sew anything.
part of the top of the turkey was missing,
Oh,
so you
you're
couldn't
right.
turn it over, all the dressing was falling.
Well, you should have asked me, I can sew. Told me that once before. I can sew ham, I can sew turkey,
Take her on reach
I can sew
Can
everything.
you show up your mouth right now?
Yeah.
Turn your mouth up.
Zip it up.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Plus, you're gonna get.
Around
Yeah.
female, yeah.
Oh, boy.
You can put it up.
Oh,
Oh. I think I'm getting full.
already?
And you complain about
I
me?
haven't even had a fruit salad yet.
Who?
I already ate some. Yeah, some fruit salad, some pie,
I ate
ice
the fruit
cream, oil, white.
That's my favorite. So.
Well, Ronnie likes a piece of pie. You gonna give a piece of pie to Ronnie?
Second one. Yeah, Buddy and Michael, Sherry, Jack.
I bet Jack would like some pie with ice cream on it. What?
Because he's just
Jack,
thing
just
behind.
like the rest of us. He likes ice cream.
You want to put this in the back here?
Yeah, I put it on the back.
Oh, I didn't mean to put
But the
it.
dark men don't seem to like pumpkin pie for some reason.
What's wrong with these females? They eat every piece there is. We don't get any.
They got good sense, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand? Like I said, we were, so I understand.
Who wants sweet potato? Here. You? Not a problem.
I think that.
Boy, you're gonna stuff me as a turkey tonight.
Well, that's what it is, turkey.
That's sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
That's the biscuit.
Turkey.
We're gonna have a first turkey.
Look, a gobble gobble fight. That's a apple. Just sweet.
That's what I'm doing.
You just don't like it, that's all. You see, we're in the first place, this is all four, that's all.
What's that? I'm gonna go around the second one.
What do you want?
Turkey. There goes Susan doing it again. Especially over the plates.
Sweet one, right?
The Susan, I think. This is the, you know, when you put a relish point on it, you put a little fork in it. I couldn't find a little fork.
Well, you gotta be there.
And boxes one way.
You open your eyes. You wear glasses, you can see.
Talk, 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 talk.
I can't even
Okay,
show
how
you.
you get to eat?
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
We talk to him, we eat.
Every month.
He takes a deep breath and says, keep talking. He's got a bad foot list.
What's this turkey next to me?
What was that bourbon next to me?
That was Susan.
No, that was you.
Yeah, I went to.
It wasn't me.
Ah,
No, but
ah, I was right.
I don't know. I'm no kid. It's gotta be kid. They've gotta go to the washroom. I mean, the way I'll keep you at, I'm gonna go runs tomorrow. I gotta run around the block. I'll pick up some potatoes.
You don't mind. Just make
That's the
me.
gravy though.
You think I should?
No,
Yeah.
here, I
Pour
saw.
over.
Just pour over.
Yeah,
Might as well.
everything.
Might as well.
Pour.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But you any of that salad?
No, we haven't got to it.
Well, we're.
I'm waiting for it to pass to
looking
me so I can fill up the plate. Well, you can build one.
I just want
Please
everybody
pass
to
me
it.
the
I can't eat any on here.
No, but I can.
I'll have to go on your bowl.
Well,
Yeah.
I recovered.
Boy, you recovered happy.
He said, most of it takes you 2 minutes to recover.
Hey, really.
Yeah.
That's the, what?
The recovery rate. Fast.
Recovery rate.
You didn't want any more gravy, anybody over there?
No, but I do. I got
You
it.
got gravy over there.
Right, I got pickles. Look at see. There's
But
pickles.
those people came over and did stuff. You know. I wonder how it goes. Thanksgiving dinners. Well, where's they go now? One day and got it over to somebody's house.
Yeah. I didn't even do it.
Eat.
Now, when you're down with mountains,
No, I was saying. I had to get food to the side of the mouse.
I hope you get in.
I told you to walk. Walk. Mm-hmm.
No.
Why
You
not?
call to let me start. Mystery shop.
Mystery style. And don't say face, because I'm not a face. I'm a pig style. Star 13. What it feels, security? What's security? Walk on the gate without even showing no pass. There's a top secret base? I don't know. Reminds me of a pig pen back home. I wasn't in the pig pen, but you know, it reminds me of
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
like I didn't say that kind of joke.
As you could tell, Wall Street Club, Chicago.
Gangster City.
I don't know what. What did you
The big side.
Wait, when Ray said that, Mom looked down and see she dropped into the Get over there. I get so proud of my mother, Ray. You're just...
No. Make me fast to everything. You too, Ted. You too, Jim.
He's not a girl.
He had already been on the base
So hot.
That's what we're talking about here.
Well, it certainly got quiet all of them.
Well, I had my mouth shut.
I never noticed that.
Oh, boy.
Remedy that.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm all right. You eat that one.
pass me a rice, please.
I gotta put it somewhere, right?
Thank you.
What's that?
Everybody's crunchy.
Want some?
Not a bad idea.
They can do that too. I'll just.
Right, eat.
I am. Well, I'm eating. I'm serving.
No, you just eat your own. I don't want him.
Listen, throw the potatoes down my lap.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's Jane doing over there?
I get his nose in the finger. Notice how quiet Guy is.
Where's all that wine and stuff you was gonna have?
On the turkey.
Man, you were so anxious to get in there. You got to wait for one.
That one looks good though.
You always have wine or whiskey when you got.
Well, since it got so late, we thought we'd wait till the rest of them get here and then we'll have a little wine and 7-Up.
What are you afraid you're gonna get
That reminds me of a,
choke?
Jay, quit eating your celery so loud.
reminds me of when I was a pup.
I can hear you a mile away.
What was that, Gene? What did you say? Burr, burr, burr. Use your stuff.
Excuse me, Dean.
I like it. I can run after you.
I feel back up there.
She gave it back to me. What you do is cough it up? Good, no wonder you got to. I'll take out the shot. I want
No, don't talk like that.
Bless me.
And this family, you just don't talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to shut up. You can't be.
You fight or you to have a truce.
But you just got friends things. Hey.
Yeah.
You get discussed out loud.
Well, I'll tell you what happened up in the hunting
What
camp
happened to the
Hey, what happened up in Duncan Camp?
this year.
I'll hold it.
No, that's all right.
All right. Sometimes you have an exposure.
If nobody wants to hear it, well, that's all
Come
right.
on, Ted.
Yeah. What's the matter with you anyway?
What'd you shot
She
some,
looks so easy.
some Theodore over there for
Don't
face?
you know he wants to be big?
No, but if they tell a story, I don't mind telling it again. Teach
All
it.
right.
Alan.
Everybody put something in their mouth.
Everybody over now.
Get a tablecloth and shove down your throat.
Something like that.
Oh, it was different. That was different.
I gotta take a trip.
Hey, where you going?
You need to say you wish to be excused. Please.
You want to go to
Oh, wait, what happened?
All right, now we can say about that joke he's going to say. Don't touch yourself.
Okay, Jack. What happened to Hunting Camp? Wait.
Oh, I was in the tent there, and guy up on the hill up there, he hollered and he says, "Hey, did you see that buck come down here?" And so I run out the door and the tent, and here comes that buck down the hill just about to cross the bottom of the wash, and I took a couple of quick shots, and before I could put the bottle down, he was gone.
Did you get him?
Oh, dear.
Went over everybody's head.
Well, I'm too young.
Even
They go to my head because I heard you tell the same joke that guy down to
who's the man he's supposed to be educated.
Not that again.
Maybe. The kid.
He took a couple of shots at the deer. When we got the bottle down, it was gone.
You don't get that? You can shoot different people different ways.
He should take a couple shots with the rifle, you know, like he's
Yeah.
bad than that.
You sure it was a rifle?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a bottle.
That was a rifle.
Well, what do you got
It was
next?
just a story.
Who's
That's
that?
right.
I don't think I can put fruits out of my
What we got next? We got turkey and gravy and mashed potatoes and
I'll keep
peas.
eating anti-flow.
Oh, boy.
So I'll keep eating anti-flow.
Was that water
Let's
back
see.
there in that picture or what?
Yeah, that's water.
Use it then.
Gene, you ready to have a conscious with me? Say what you can eat. Chicken.
I'm done now.
About half full of it all. That's
Well,
Half full. That's 3/4. Can't you measure? That's right. You weren't in service.
that was cold water, nothing but tap water.
Want some ice cubes?
Well, we don't have sparklet water or anything like that.
Sparklets. The water that tastes like.
Yeah.
Now she's. You better not take that off.
no water.
She must be looking for something important.
I know. She's.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Nuts.
Marshmallows, oranges.
Who's nuts? I know I am.
You left yourself wide open on that one.
Yeah, that's her thing. I don't know how Susan puts up with it.
You were all ready. For what?
Forget it.
Okay.
Squeeze through there, Susan.
Yeah.
I bet some of them.
Look what's happening.
I'm sitting in there.
And I'm not edging away on a rocker.
No, you're far enough. You're far enough. You're far enough away
Back
from your
in the
neighbor.
last time,
Put a little bend in that wall there, though.
Yeah.
Johnny kept filling up his plate.
And moving away on his rocker.
Remember what Kay said on that one time, too?
Yeah.
The rocking chair.
Yeah.
Get brother away, brother away, brother away, and get these really,
She went over the edge.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what, oh, yeah.
When I scared look at my face when it cracked anybody.
Everybody, Kay, what's the matter?
Then she,
What did you?
oh, I didn't sound like that.
No, you didn't make a sound. It's just a look on your face. That was like pure
Red
terror.
face? She's all red now.
Pure terror.
Well, only females do that. cigar for you in the car.
Yeah, well, I got a demo now.
Great, I'm basic.
Wait, I'm trying to get a hold of this crap.
No. Only about a box of rock.
What, you got to be, another step up now then, huh?
Yep.
What do you call it now?
Every first class.
Every first class, huh?
It was an second one, and next is sergeant.
Didn't make it.
Boy, them sure pretty roses you got, Susan.
Aren't they all?
Roses.
How many did you get? 4 dozen?
4 dozen. 4 dozen plus 8.
Plus 8.
$10 a dozen. Gee, that's pretty good.
Huh?
4.5 dozen.
Well, 4 3/4 step.
Oh, nice. Okay.
How much do they get for them? I think it's something like, well,
It's about,
it's
pretty
about
close to, around
10,
there.
it's
About, yeah,
$5.
awful close.
Yellow rose.
About that much. Yeah.
$10 a dozen.
Yeah, most of you got that. So I got about,
$45 worth.
She stole it out of the shop.
47.50 to be exact.
well, anyhow, it's pretty soon. We've seen in a long time.
Those roses were supposed to go to the cemetery tonight.
No, she was, she
You're
was
going to
saying
get you if you don't shut up and
I'm done eating.
Are you? Okay, ready for your
God, you're fast.
I know, I'm ready for a third.
Give him the beet salad.
No, I can't eat fruit salad now.
She's gotta go with it. Oh, Ray.
Wow, I'm a cat.
Take it, well, you're worse than a cat.
Well, I'm not done eating. Why
Are
should
you
I
a
have
cat or a cat?
a pussycat?
Yeah. That was that right.
What's now?
Be careful, there's
Hey, what's the,
What are you doing? I can't hear the dishes.
What for? I'm not done eating here yet.
You look like it.
Wait, you cup for this way. There's plenty of cups here.
Well, nobody mentioned the arrangement.
Yeah, we're looking at that.
What arrangement?
Look, that pussy rose there.
Just right there.
Tiger lily.
in that beautiful.
If you sprinkle some pepper on those yellow flowers, they look like tiger lilies.
Well, Ray, are you eating?
Yeah. You want me to get some?
Are you thankful?
And I'm thankful for everything I can have.
Okay.
Not you.
If I hadn't eaten a good meal, it's always my.
Last time I ate a meal was September 69. I was home.
You're out there, you eat one.
I know, venison.
That's good stuff.
That's
all
good.
Well, you don't get no more.
Yeah.
Steer meat.
Yeah, me.
No, really, it's called venison.
Somebody ate it.
How about venison?
How about venison? Well,
How about venison?
How about tennis?
no
How
tennis.
about climbing up?
Why should I climb up? You climb up first.
Well, we
Right.
don't want to have to erase the whole thing. We can take.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I better shut up.
Right.
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 My voice more great.
Red thing.
I'm doing loud and clear.
Oh, we're not there. Speak again.
You guys must have had a few cocktails out in the garage.
Yep.
Well, yeah, some of that.
That's what I was doing different from most.
Yeah, there it is.
But I know what I have now. I feel low.
Put on high and want to try your hand in.
Oh, that salty jerk.
A little bit too salty, Daddy. You don't like it?
I like
It
it.
is a good problem.
It is. It's really.
Why you thought so much?
Soak it out and dry it again.
And you do that?
Not legally.
Hey,
Is
Dad.
that what you did, Glenn?
Yeah, I can share. I said to wait for the turkey. When they sent them. To wait
Yeah,
for
that's right.
on that paper says, I said to wait
They're
for
looking for it in the mail.
Boy, everything's so quiet.
Of course, I got my mouth shut for once.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have my third plate.
You know which side of the table? It's just like her. Which side is the one for Ronnie
She's
James?
gonna mix that.
We got second side?
Okay, just try it. Okay.
We can find out easy enough.
Well, you could put it on right now, could you, and, Ted could hear the first part of, he never did hear hardly any of it, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it was so cute. And Jeffrey Sharon said to Ronnie, well, you gonna sing? And he said, where's the piano?
Well, he must have meant his little toy piano. He thinks he's gotta have that before he can sing.
4:15.
Well, we could go with 500.
What's the 5? Yeah, what's the
Find a piano over there? Well, they sounded good when they sang on tape recorder. They sounded better than we did.
Of course, I could do the next team with the singing people have a chance to go through the piano.
Yeah, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
What's this for?
Just the one.
Blue cheese dressing and mashed potatoes.
He wouldn't sing unless next to the piano,
Look out, Caesar, play some kind of music.
Great play, Sharon did.
She can't even get a grape on her fork. She needs a spoon.
I got a nose beside me, that's why.
That's for sure.
You like him,
I'm just waiting for him to subside.
Oh, nighttime.
Want some pepper? What time is it?
4:07.
Our time.
Yeah, before after 10 minutes time. They're probably getting ready to go to bed, we're still eating.
Oh, there will be hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just think, it took us 11 hours, like Ted said.
Well, looks like you worked up an appetite over the 11 hours.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to get some of this stuff off the table before everybody else comes out here. You won't have room to, put the coat and caps.
Yeah, they're not gonna lay on the top of their end. They're not trying.
That was me around.
You're talking, I'm so he's back when they come.
Oh, we finished 2 hours ago, we're just waiting for Ray. I'm not sure you can buy this paper.
Well, I don't know if he's doing it now, but
Bunny's already passed.
Yep.
Yeah, you're getting ready to come tomorrow.
I'm glad you remember that.
Nice going, Kate. You better got out of
You
here.
ready today, or buy the tape recorder today and give me the right number tomorrow?
Janet got the tape recorded?
No.
Well, she did have one wrong,
That's all.
I'm gonna go to town.
Well, yeah, if they had one, even like this one here, just a half part there, we could tape on that. And they could hear Jack and Sharon's tape and then part of the whole thing, you know? It'd be nice to have, you know,
Or you could rent a tape recorder.
might have been there.
You know something,
I got soup.
you wouldn't have to fill up a tape when you wanted to talk to them either. But leave room on the tape for them to answer on that same tape.
Because on this, you can tell how many feet you use. Just use half of it, and let them play it, you know, then answer on the half.
But right there before they talk, try to talk to them. Big
4:57.
beautiful target, Gene.
Huh?
Big beautiful target.
What?
Well, what is it?
Okay.
What's she doing?
I've got
460.
7-5.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll just turn all the way back.
Well, this ain't like some of the Thanksgiving dinners we used to have. You used to have a table clear into that room.
Yeah.
Must be
And
the White House.
everybody, 25, 30 people around here, and I just worked my fingers to the bone getting stuff cooked up.
You can play that too.
He had
Oh, it was good too. Whenever
he has got a record. He's never so much as in a third chair.
Well, he's on his right.
Never even helped set up the tables. Well,
Yeah, but I put the roof over you so you could have it, didn't I?
With roof. Got 1,000 roofs.
No.
Yeah, there used to be a lot of them.
yeah, when I think
But him working through his fingers to the bone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Poor kid.
yeah, nice when you take it working.
Sometimes I dream that they're in the middle of one of those big parties, you know, and I'm scrambling around trying to keep everything going and get everything done and wondering if I got enough food for this and that and everything, you know. Fortunately, I wake up.
I'm thinking you have a flood of have a nice big flood of Christmas time.
Yeah, I remember that one Christmas Eve, dear, when you wound up mopping up the hall after you.
Don't try to forget that.
Oh,
Okay.
What?
They were always enjoyable, but so much work and frantic tension.
Yeah.
So much work.
Well,
That's too bad Sharon Jack couldn't be here.
and Janet and her husband were there.
Yeah, sure.
Who? Irvin.
No.
I know Irvin. What is this? Throwing the garbage on his
They had on their tape, they said they were, took a little trip down the
On the
Skyline Drive.
No,
Virginia, you know, down there. Yeah. Out through the Shenandoah Valley, down in there and stuff. Around, different places around Washington DC there, and stuff, you know. And they
next to there, it's on
that
the
was all
phone.
the way around there, within a 100, 200 mile radius. See a lot of pretty stuff. The trees turning into gold, you know, and what have you, what feeling.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty sad, yeah.
Yeah. The fall and leaves start turning. They got that thing, Skyline Drive.
Just put it over here, okay?
You should have left the dirt forks because they weren't even used.
Yeah.
That one's dirty
Ah,
now.
that's more work.
You should leave your dessert forks so we can have.
Well,
If they're dirty now,
Nobody's gonna
forget it.
eat dessert. My God, everybody's too full.
Sounds like she's insulting a
Well,
little.
we can't wait for lunch to get back. Or yeah, big one right there. Mom said it's the first time I've eaten oysters.
They're good, aren't they? Huh? Nice and gooey.
Look at them.
And chewy.
Did you eat any? I think all you do is
Don't want to I want to put it in your mouth.
one.
I think that's it. I think well, you've got four in there, but don't wait it up there at hole there.
No,
The first guy
I ate
is
one.
Well,
I'm
I'll give you the oysters, okay?
all right.
Nothing but oysters, that's all.
Nobody else wants any more oysters except Susan.
We'll put in a handful of crackers too.
Susan, you want more oysters? Okay, fuller, but
Yeah,
what the hell, Jack should eat no oysters, I don't know.
I've never tried it.
You can go and take the more wishy-looking things out of the jar and just throw them down whole, raw. I could like, I like it.
Try it. My uncle Mike likes oysters anyway. You can get raw, fried, French fries.
Well, they don't need to be any oysters, somebody clean them out. I like that word. Well, there's one, that's it.
Okay,
Who wants more juice?
stick a handful of crackers in there too, Willie Dale.
Crackers? Well, I enjoyed mine since I got my oysters going. Really, it's not all that bad.
Yeah.
Jean had dessert.
Please. Thank you.
But I'll repeat, I like those oyster crackers in there too. How about you more too? No more for me, sir. Oh, don't give me any more.
No more, geez. You want to wax?
I got a full thing.
Well, take full.
All this nice hot milk will be good.
Oh, down the
Well,
middle.
big and strong, Jean. Daddy would like it.
Nope, yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Say something. You might get up at the wrong moment.
Like, this little extra. Because he never gets filled up. Maybe that's why I for good. Maybe we put together.
We finally get the address. They offer
That's good too.
When he looks on those antihistamines,
That's why it's cruising, all that stuff.
Well, that'll make us feel a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Alice, Mike, Dad, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
This kind of reminds me of old cold winters up in Minnesota when we were young.
Yeah, when we used to come out there to that little shack out west of town.
Yeah, on the farm there.
Yeah, and your dad used to
so
shack
they're
all the
together.
stories. They'd come out in the middle of the night and walk out on the snow, and after all these ghost stories, we were scared to go home.
Yeah, he could sure tell them, I tell you.
All I
Real
gotta
good
do-
ones, too.
Yeah, all I gotta do is just close my eyes, and I think your dad's here.
You do?
That's right.
Be
Because he
sorry.
sounds just like him. He sounds exactly like him.
Well,
So tell us some of your stories again, Daddy.
no, I'm gonna sit here and eat some of that candy she just made while you talk a little bit. Give me
Tell
some
us
of
that
that.
one about
Cake
Louie with all those eyes in the woods.
Well, that's on the back end of that.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It-
Well,
He's gonna
My
tell us
dad,
stories about his dad.
my dad they used to talk about things that happened with signs they'd see, you know, about people dying and things that had happened. They'd see signs about that stuff. So he told me one time when he was about 10, 11 years old, he used to go and play with some neighbor boys across the back of their farm through the heavy timber, and he played a little too late that afternoon, and it got dark, and he was so scared of the dark, he was always afraid. He was scared to be in the dark, so he said, "Oh, I gotta get home real quick," he said, "before it gets any later." And so he starts on down through the woods. There's an old trail down through there, and of course, when he gets in the woods, it's real dark, but there was a little bit of moonlight showing, and he gets running through the woods, and he comes to a little open place in the woods, and gosh, he got into the middle of it before he knew what happened, and boy, there was eyes in front of him, and he stopped, and he looked to the sides of him, and there was eyes there, and behind him, it was all around him. Boy, he got down by a big old stump there, and he was so scared to move, he didn't know what happened. He was seeing them eyes all around him. And he was barefooted, of course, he didn't have any shoes, but their feet were tough. And anyway, after about an hour in there, he thought he better make a break for it and see if he couldn't get out of there some way and get home, or he was sure going to get hell when he got home from his dad for being late. So, boy, he got up and he run to beat hell. And he got out through past some of them eyes and down into the woods again, and he run just as fast as he could, and finally he got out of the woods and across the field and over to the house, and Aunt Amita, his sister, she was the oldest girl. Why, she kind of protected Paul a little bit. She'd help him get away with some of the shenanigans he used to play when he was a kid. So he told her that, well, he was lucky to get home because he got stuck in the woods there for about an hour, all them eyes all around him, and he said he finally got away from him. He said, and he hurried and got home. And his feet was all bloody. He hit his toes on the rocks and stuff, and he didn't even know his feet hurt him. And they showed him he was so scared. So later on, the next day he told his brother Martin about it. And Martin said, well, tonight we're going to go back there and we're going to see. So they went back there and that night, and there was all them eyes again. They got back in there, and it was nice little moonlight, and all them eyes was shining all around them. So Martin went over to one of them dead logs and he give it a kick, and boy, there was that foxfire just flew out of that. And all it was is just the humidity was just right, and the moonlight was just right, and the temperature was just right, and it glowed in the dark, see?
The wood.
The wood glows. Basswood does that. And so he told my dad, you don't have to be afraid of that kind of stuff. He says, I don't know what you were scared of, but by golly, he was pretty afraid of everything when he was 10, 12 years old. So Martin we told my dad, he said, Louis, he says, later on he bought a gun. My dad wanted a gun real bad, so he said, if you'll walk out to the barn and walk back, he says, there's only 22 rifles out there back in the feed bin for you. But he says, if you even show a sign of being scared, he says, I'm going to take it away from you.
He had to walk back to the barn in the
In
dark.
the dark, yeah, because
Without a light?
he'd never go out in the dark without a lantern before that. Boy, he walked out there in the dark and walked out there and got the gun and walked back, and Martin gave him the gun, and he said he was never scared in his life after that. He was, boy, he just wasn't afraid of nothing or nobody. And he said, it's all in your head, being scared.
Yeah, and wasn't Martin the one who was murdered later?
Well, Martin they found him run over on the railroad up in northern, up out of Warroad up toward Winnipeg. He just come back from the harvest fields in Dakota, and he had several $100 on him. Huh?
He would be Ronnie's great uncle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what surprised me, that his dad, after being so scared himself when he was a kid, that he would tell these stories. And, you know, you'd be really frightened just hearing these stories, the way he'd tell them, because they were so true.
Yeah.
Well, what was this about Martin now? What happened to him?
Well, he left town to walk up to the Canadian border where he had his house. And by golly, they found him on the tracks the next day. He'd been run over there with a train, but they said he was drunk, but he had bought a bottle of whiskey in Warroad, and when they found him, why the bottle of whiskey never was opened, and never seal broken or nothing, laying there by the tracks, and he didn't have $1 on him, and somebody killed him, put him on the tracks, and they think they know who it was. Like it was that. You remember we talked about it a lot, you know, on the Ouija board, Alice. Remember that?
Yeah, sure do.
There was a fella, the oldest Springfield boy, was kind of off his nut a little. You remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember.
And you know, he disappeared after that, and they never did know where he ever went.
Oh, Sharon, I'm really not that old, but I remember the stories.
Yeah.
But you know, somebody had to be responsible for that.
So, then, well, that happened after the time that you remember Alice, Pa telling us about that Christmas in Badette when he was first up there about 1901 or 1902, when he was there alone. He was running the coal docks there running the coal chutes for the trains crossing the Canadian border there.
No, I don't remember that one.
Well, you remember the one about the taps on the window.
Oh, yeah.
That's the time. So Martin had come down. This was the year before Martin was killed. So Martin had come down on the train from Warroad, about 50 miles.
Well, now, was Martin another brother of
That was the oldest brother.
That was your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
So he come down to spend Christmas with my dad. And there was another fellow up there at Warroad that come down with Martin to spend the Christmas with him. My dad had a dog named Sport.
Yeah.
And that dog wasn't scared of nothing on this earth. Boy, he was with my dad all the time, and
Boy, he laid right there by that door all the time. He never would leave that door. And if anything was around outside or anything, he growled and wanted to get out. Anyway, that night, they was all laying in their bunks there in the log house my dad had built there. And they were talking about old times and things that happened, and it was snowing outside. There was about 1.5 feet of snow outside. And so they, about 11:30 at night, they had kind of run out of something to talk about, and the dog was laying by the door. And the dog got up and growled and backed away from the door, and his hackles was up. And he backed over there to my dad's bed, and he crawled under the bed, and he'd never done that in his life. And my dad says, "Sport, what's the matter?" He says, "Come out of there." And that dog, you couldn't get him out from under that bed for nothing. So he says, "That's awful funny." So he got up and went over to the door and opened the door, and of course there was a foot of snow out at the door, and the door opened in. No sign and no tracks and nothing, nobody or nothing out there. And so he went back to bed, and they all thought it was kind of funny. And so after a while, they all settled down and almost to go to sleep. And there was a tap on the door, on the window, you know. And it come 3 taps like that on the window. And Martin said, "What's that?" And so my dad said, "Oh, I don't know. Nothing, I guess." So they lay there a little while, and there's one guy from Warroad here, he come and he says, he was a suspicious kind of guy. And he says, "If it's anything concerning me," he says, "tap once." And it didn't tap. And so they thought that was real funny. So they kind of settled down, and all at once, boy, there was a damnedest noise on the shelf up over the window. And my dad had sent for a new fiddle for Christmas, and he had never opened the box. Come from Sheer Roebuck, and never opened the box up, and it sounded just like you'd pulling your hand over the strings and making all that screeching noise, you know. And he said, "Oh, I know what that is." So he gets up and lit the lamp and went and got the box. The box wasn't opened. There was no sign of it being broken open or nothing. And so he opened the box. He said, "There's nothing but a mouse in that box. Has to be. Going over the strings." He opened that box, and there wasn't a thing in that box, and there was no strings on the bridge either. And he thought, "Well, boy, that's funny." And so later on, when he put the thing together and went back, he says, "I don't understand this," he said. And so after a little while, they was laying there again, and here come this 3 taps on the window again. And so Martin said, and that dog was just about to go crazy. That dog, he couldn't get him out from under the bed, and he was just having a fit under there. And so Pa got up and lit the lamp. He said, I know what, it's got to be a branch outside and hitting the grass. So he went out, he dressed all up and went out in the snow, and he went all around the building. There was no branches that were touching the house anywhere, not a track anywhere outside in the fresh snow. And by golly, he come back in, he says, by gosh, he says, not a sign of anything. He says, I don't understand it. And so this other fella then, he says, if it's anything concerning me, tap once. And it didn't tap. And he says, if it's anything concerning anybody else in this house, tap once. And it tapped once. And so that guy got right up, packed all of his stuff, and he went right downtown to the hotel, moved right out of the place, and left Martin there, and my dad. And later on, when Martin asked, he said, if it's anything concerning me, he says, tap. And it tapped. So they, nothing happened. The dog come out from under the bed, and he quit growling, and he went and laid by the front door again, and never nothing at all. So next day, why, they had their little Christmas that they had together, and Martin got on the train and went home. Well, the next year, when Martin come home from the harvest field in Dakota, he was killed on a railroad. The next year, one of the sisters, my dad's sister, got out here in Oregon. She died suddenly, and in Wisconsin, another of the sisters the next year died. 3 of them in 3 years. And that was a warning to my dad and to Martin, but it didn't tap for that other fellow. It wasn't involved at all. And that was a true. My dad swore. You heard that. He says, I swear it on a Bible. He says that exactly like it was. Is that what he said?
That's right, that's right.
And he says, now just what happened too.
Well, I have to believe in a lot of those superstitions and everything. I don't care what anybody says. And I think that a lot of them is true. Right. I think too.
Anyway, that kind of thing that happened in the early days, people don't see or hear anymore of it, or don't pay attention to it.
People think they're so smart nowadays that they know everything and that there's nothing that they don't.
Well, it's just like my mother. She always believed that if a bird fluttered on the window, that it was a sign of somebody close to you had died. And so this one winter, we lived out in North Dakota there, and we lived 17 miles out from town, and no telephones or anything at that time. And this bird was fluttering on this front window all the time, and she said, "Oh, I wish it wouldn't do that. I just know that somebody close to me is sick or dead." And the next, I think my dad went to town then the next day, and it was a wire in town that her favorite aunt had died the day before, and just about the time that bird had fluttered on the window. And you know, when things like that happen, it just makes you have to believe. That's all. Yeah.
You know what I've always heard about a bird? If you get you inside of the house or inside of a car, or gets you in and is fluttered in and it can't get out or don't get out, that means it's dead, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, when my dad had cancer so bad, we took him up to Hurricane, Utah, you know.
Yeah,
and we went up there where it was cooler and it was better for him and everything. You know, went up to get him, to bring him home. He was up there a couple months. And I went up to get him, and we drove up, and I got gas at the gas station before I went over there, and a damn bird flew in that car, and I couldn't get that damn bird to go out the window, and I just couldn't get the damn bird out of there hardly. So I opened all the doors and finally got it out of there, and I had that, you know, I'd heard that all the time, see. And of course, Dad wasn't very good, you know, and so we got him down here, and about a month later, why, he was dead.
Well, it was over at Cedar City. You found out that there was nothing they could do.
Yeah.
They had opened them up and found that the cancer was so far gone there was nothing. And they didn't know what.
But anyway, why, that Gullickson one too was a air raiser, and he swears up and down it's the truth. How much you got left then? And
oh yeah, we want to hear that
this
one too.
this Gullickson one, this this family lived close to the Munson family in Wisconsin. And when my dad was about, 12, 14 years old, that was after he never was scared of anything anymore. He made up his mind he wasn't going to be afraid of anything. And so he was sent over to the neighbor, a neighbor farmer, because they'd help my grandpa do his haying, and so they sent my dad over there to help stay with them until their haying was up. And they used to hoist it up and back in the hay mow and trip the rack, and the hay would fall in the hay mow, above where they could feed the cattle all winter. So he slept up there at night. He slept up in the new hay. And he'd have the big barn door open. He had a great big barn top up there open, you've seen them big high peak barn roofs. Anyway, he slept right out there, and the moonlight coming right in the window on the barn floor, right there, hay mow floor, right in front of him, about 20 feet out to the edge of the floor. So he was sleeping there, and all at once he woke up, and he looked out towards in the doorway, and there stood a man. And my daddy looked at him, and then Gullickson had died about a week before that, and they buried him. He was a wicked old bastard. Boy, he was mean to his family, and he was like a devil himself. He just no good with his family or anybody. Nobody liked him. And so the man walked over towards my dad, and he looks at him, and he knew it was Gullickson, see? Of course, he didn't know how the hell it could be him, because they buried him a week ago. And he says, is that you, Gullickson? And he never said anything. And he just never moved, the fellow didn't. So my dad got up and stood up, and he looked over to his right over there. They always got a ladder coming up from down below where the cattle are, where you throw the hay down, The ladder coming up that hole, and there's a little railing around it, and you throw the hay down there and feed the cows from there. So he says to himself, he's gonna make it to that ladder and get down. He says, I wasn't exactly scared, but he said I was going to get down out of there. And he says, I made a run for that stairway, and he says, I got to the stairway, and Gullickson was standing right in front of it. And he says, Gullickson, he says, that is you. He says, yes. Louis, he says, it is me. And he says, well, what do you want with me? Well, he says, I want you to go to my family. Do you ever remember what her name was?
No, I don't. I remember your dad.
Anyway, he says, I want you to go and tell my wife how sorry I am. He says, how I treated her and the family, and he says, I am in hell. He says, I don't want nobody to go through what I'm going through. And he says, you tell her how sorry I am, and if she can forgive me for all the terrible things I did. And she said, will you do that, Louis? And he says, yeah. And boy, he disappeared just like that. And my dad, he walked back there where he'd been sleeping, and he laid down, and he thought about it, and he said, by the time, he says, I am awake. He says, everything is, he says, I've been up, I walked around, and that man was right here. He says, I got over to the stairs, and he was right in front of me. And so he told the farmer about it the next morning. He went to sleep, didn't seem to bother him at all. Went to sleep, and next morning told the farmer about it. He wanted to know if he could go down there that evening after work and go see her, because it was down there a couple miles. He said, yeah, you should do that. So he went down there and they told her about it. And she said, I wasn't going to say anything, but she said, he was here too. He was here, and I seen him that night. And he told her what he told her to tell him. Told him to tell her. And he did, and he went back, and of course, nothing ever happened again, but he swears right up and down that just exactly like it happened.
Well, I think it wasn't said because he couldn't have told it over and over the same way if it hadn't have happened that way.
No, and you know, he the first time I ever heard that, why, like you say, there was never no difference. It was all, nothing flowered about it, nothing left out of it, and nothing. It was always the same way.
Yeah, that's right.
And things like that, why, it makes you wonder what it's like.
Well, that one that got me so much, I wasn't half on balance when you did that. You like to show the TV set.
Almost scared Herbert out of his wits here. He almost tipped off the chair.
You darn your last TV set there.
No, it is an affirmation of the fact that there is life after death. That there is nothing there.
No,
It's simply a change in form. And we know, even scientists say there is no energy that is never lost. It'll be a change in physical form. But nothing is ever lost.
I hope I changed for the better.
You know, and that's what Alice was talking about. She used to, her and the whole bunch of them used to come out there at the farm and then at night, and they only had kerosene lamps, you know, and sit around the
They
table.
would sit on the edge of the bed and on the chairs around there, and they'd throw wood in the fire and we'd tell stories. And it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes when we'd go home to Flipston. It's going to be 3 o'clock this morning, and I got to get up at 6 for work. Yes, sir. I have to go to work too.
So that's the kind of stuff that Alice used to hear when she was young, like we were.
Like we are? Well, I think that's pretty neat.
We used to have fun with them horses in the sleigh.
Stories to pass down. Well, Sharon, it just makes us feel younger to talk over the old stories.
Yeah. Well, anyway, why?
And now I must say goodnight, and I must go home.
Well, it's nice for you to come over like this.
Yeah, we sure enjoyed it.
And
Well, your turn here.
turn that off there.
And he is
I'll tell you, Muriel,
scientist
Muriel, if you want to hear about this here story in Wisconsin about Gullickson, another one?
Sure.
Well, this Gullickson was, like I say, was a wicked old no good, and
This is the cleaned up version.
and he talked kind of through his nose too. He didn't talk too good, and so this year it was so dry there in that country that all the crops were drying up, and so they had a holy roller building down there that they built that summer, and out of green lumber, and it was so dry that the green lumber had shrunk up and left cracks about half, 3/4 of an inch between the boards. And so Uncle Martin and my dad and a couple other farm boys, they got one of them big long, foot-long horse syringes that they used to put medicine down their throat with, you know, and everything. And boy, it was a powerful thing. Regular water gun, you know. So they had old Gullickson. They convinced Gullickson to come there and to pray for rain. And they were all in the church there, and these boys, my Uncle Martin and my dad, and like I say, a couple other farm boys there, and had this syringe full of water. front by the pulpit there, and he was down on his knees, and he was praying like the rest of them for rain, you know. And so, by gosh, they was right back of the pulpit with this gun, you know, and they're looking right at everybody. And they didn't know what they was going to hit, but they were going to spray everybody with water, you know, and they were praying for rain, you know. And boy, they had this right up against the board, and Martin, he just gave it a shot, you know, and boy, the water flew in there, and it hit 2-3 guys, but it hit Gullickson right square, you know, and Gullickson, he jumped up and he says, "Jesus Christ," he said, "you pray for rain, get right away." My dad told me that was the funny thing he's ever seen. I was looking through the crack and he jumped up and said that. Well, you know, years later, when my dad finally got married and had us kids, why, we lived in Badette, Minnesota, and so they were great churchgoers, the Lutheran people, and Reverend Honeston, he used to be over at our place about every Sunday, and other people in church for dinner, and all over at our place. And so, my dad had told him this story, you know, and so when he was over at our place with other guests, you know, he'd say to my dad, he says, tell that story about the time you seen Gullickson praying for rain and you shot him with the horse rings and see what he said, you know. And the preacher, he heard him tell that story many, many times. He did laugh about it. Boy, that's the funniest story he did you ever seen. Praying for rain, you get it right away.
Well, that really shows a lack of good judgment too, to jump 2 guys that have a gun on, each have a gun on them.
Well, I guess he was afraid he was going to get shot.
But I afraid he's gonna rob it.
No, I think he's gonna break it, gonna lose money.
Yeah.
Well,
He's gonna lose his life.
well, you're not used to losing money.
Yeah, I know. Janet suggested you go to a doctor, and gosh, I think I shocked him more than me.
I did.
What? Go to a doctor? I have to pay something.
But you could get blood clots or something from those blows on the head. You know.
Yeah, you might get something that's beyond Ted's first aid abilities.
Well, yeah. But they nothing of infection in that place where the skin on his skin. I think his glasses were irritated. The glasses went right across the leg. He should have had a bandage or a band-aid or something. A band-aid would
You're recording now, Gene? Yeah, well, for those people that are listening to this and don't know what we're talking about, yesterday morning around 2 o'clock, a couple of young fellows tried to rob Russ and Island. They didn't get very far. They each had guns, but he knocked down one of them, got the best of him, and he traded blows pretty even with the big guy. Except Russ was using his fist, and the big guy was using a gun to club him. So, but then Mary came with Russ's gun, and he took off in a pretty big hurry. Russ got some shots in the car.
According to Russ, the camera was hanging over the gun in the bedroom, and Mary got so excited she ran out with the camera first and then went back for the gun. But anyway,
She denies that, but Russ insists it happened, so.
oh dear.
Yeah, I guess that's what Russ told the sheriff's office too. He said they looked kind of startled. They saw the camera there on the floor right by the motel office.
Yeah, they got scared and ran when they heard the word gun. Oh, gee.
Yeah, we're waiting for Jen to come up with another gem of wisdom from her latest Cosmopolitan.
There's an article in here that says the honeymoon was grand in the Cold War II, and has all kinds of very nice clothes.
Well, those were the days.
I wonder how long before Franklin will take that magazine off the stands.
No, it's not obscene.
The district attorney here is
It's just a woman's Playboy, that's all.
conducting a war on pornography and dirty magazines and stuff like that.
Oh, you don't, what do you know about it? You don't even read Playboy.
You know very well.
Are you considering this for Sharon?
Why not?
I quit reading Playboy when Ian Fleming died, and they quit having the first.
Well, Cosmopolitan has real good murder mysteries. There's one more James Bond, and I'm around what's called Security. There's Dynasty Service. And were you taking that when they go about Washington?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I understand.
No. My Elizabeth.
Grandma called tonight, and she said she happened to look up the head reaching history. And but then Maggie and Lynn Henderson were there, and the guess that they had to leave for Alaska in a hurry because they got word that Wally had committed suicide. And Wally is the one, who got caught on the mountain.
But it froze on
A couple of years ago now. He had his hands and his legs amputated. I don't think it was his hands, I think it was his legs up to his hands.
I thought it was.
All four limbs like this.
I thought it was both his arms and both his legs.
No, it wasn't his arms. Well, his hands and feet were both frozen. Also. Anyhow, the poor kid evidently finally committed suicide. I might as well get all the bad news out of the way at one time. Yeah. You want to tell her about Cleveland, Sue Crosby? Well, I really don't know all the details. Yeah, you can tell what you know. Well, why did you tell you from birth? You remember Susie Costin, Sharon?
Okay.
Well, she's the baby of the Costin family. The little curly-haired one with the big glasses. Now, we don't like to talk about it, but we had to go to her funeral. And see, that was Monday, funeral. They were going through Flagstaff. Yeah. Coming out of Flagstaff early in the morning, I guess. They slept on a mother were going over to visit relatives in Farmington, New Mexico. Near Flagstaff, they hit a patch of ice. And had an accident. And Sue was killed outright. Her mother's in Flagstaff Hospital, all broken up. Don't know if you ever know. Sue was only 22 years old. The twins were the same age as you are, Sharon. Born the same summer, and Sue was born 2 years later. Really sad. It sure was. And Linda has been found in the Wilsons.
Did they find her, or are they still open for us?
I haven't heard any more since Helen called me the other night.
You say they think they know where she is, that's why they found her.
Well, Ted called up Helen yesterday, and Helen said the guys were in jail now. In Albuquerque.
So they must have been.
What, did they have Linda in jail too?
I don't know about that. But the guys were apparently.
Oh, I mean,
but
Linda had been kidnapped by these guys,
Oh, about 2 months ago, isn't it?
Yeah, 7 weeks ago, Linda disappeared. They just found her, located her over there in Albuquerque. Well, it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, it
7
was.
weeks ago
Terry was due to get in. Terry was due to get in there yesterday.
It was Monday they located her. We were having ludicrous dinner. I don't know what a day that was. We went to poor Sue's funeral in the morning and rushed our heads off getting ready for that ludicrous and left to dinner and had that big dinner. And then we got word. Helen called and told us that they had found me. At least she thought they did.
Well, at least she's alive anyway, that's helps good.
Yeah, I don't really know.
She is alive.
Just how she is right now. Anyway, they got the men that they figured kidnapped her in jail in Albuquerque. And we have yet to hear any more about it.
Dan, even if kidnapping doesn't hold up, I said it's Arizona charges against one of the police.
Oh, yeah, that deal on the car. Yeah.
Larson, or something at the very least.
Oh, they've got plenty to hold him for it. Maybe extortion.
Harry and Howard were up in
Organization.
Olympia, Washington, when this broke. One of the guys finally wrote to his folks up there, and Harry and Howard were all the good police, or someone got rid of it. And got word to the Albuquerque police real fast, I guess, and got the men picked up. But Harry and Howard were on their way back and had truck trouble in Portland, I guess, so Howard stayed there to get the truck running. Harry flew to Denver and on to Albuquerque. He could get there yesterday, so I suppose they heard a little bit by now. Yeah, I heard.
I just hope they didn't have the truck up and just go up with something to make it go along with the, you know.
I don't know, just has radio a bit. Still rolling out sounds.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Jack and Sharon heard about Ted's running out that burglar.
No, they didn't.
Oh, I'm home, my baby well.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's your bullet hole, Susan. You can tell them.
yeah, I'm afraid it's over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Daddy, came home to get back one afternoon and was gone for a little while, and then he came back and noticed the back door was open. Of course, Mama was gone and I was at work, but he thought I was home, so he didn't bother to look over towards the clothesline or anything to notice that my bedroom window was wide open and the yellow lawn chair was sitting right under it. He didn't notice that, but he walked in and he walked right back in the back of the house to my room. Not sure he was going to tell me to wash dishes and clean my bedroom or something.
How come you were home so at such a funny time in the day?
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
the middle of the day.
Well, you want to tell it? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Judy, and you. Tell us stories, Judy.
Tell it.
Shut up.
Oh, come on. Do it easy,
I'm trying to wait till everybody shuts up. Anyway, we went back to the front of the house and I started towards my bedroom and he heard this clunk running across my bedroom floor. He knew that couldn't be me, so he ran towards the bedroom and pulled his gun out of his belt. There's Dad. He saw his nigger come through the window. We're trying to get into the window, pull out his gun and told him to stop, but he jumped through that window just as Daddy shot at him, but he didn't hit him. He raised his gun up enough so that
Don't do it again.
bullet went above the window, and the burglar got out. Daddy said he really wasn't he went behind the garage, over the top of the blue Cadillac. I mean, you know, he put one foot on the fender, one foot on the top, and you slid down the back into the fence, knocked the fence down, and kept right on running. And Daddy just couldn't get over the fact that how that guy got away so fast. Because he had run out the back door, around the garage, and by the time he got around the garage, the guy was gone. So, and little Bobby across the street came over after school let out and tracked him over behind Howard and Helen Wilson, you know. And he found a pair of old black jeans wet down, and the whole backyard was wet down too. And the reason the pants were wet down is because when he slid down the back of the car, all the red paint on the back of the car rubbed off on his black pants.
I might have something brown on the inside of them too after the bullet went over